we continue to strive for a relationship with China, but one that is built on mutual sensitivity, mutual respect, and mutual interest.
Against the backdrop of ever complicated ties with China, and 3 years after the fierce Galwan clashes, India chaired the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit in Goa.
और जब तक भारतीय जनता पार्टी की मोदी सरकार चल रही है, 1 इंच जमीन पर भी कोई कब्जा नहीं कर सकता.
India's changing policy for China is clearly visible.
चीन जो है एक असाधारण पड़ोसी है.
An unusual neighbor, a global superpower, a belligerent imperialist, China continues to threaten regional stability.
China's strides as a political powerhouse are evident in its pursuits for a much larger and higher seat. It is increasingly displaying a willingness to project its military power.
From renaming foreign lands to disregarding sovereignty and crushing dissent.
चीन और भारत का दायित्व और बढ़ जाता है.
China has ignored PM Modi's offer to grow stronger together.
आज वर्ल्ड ऑर्डर पूरी तरह बदल चुका है.
But times have changed.
There is a time now to do a fresh appraisal of what should be India's goals and what we are willing to give and take to settle a dispute with China.
So what is India's policy of dealing with an increasingly aggressive China? 3 years ago in 2020, when Indian and Chinese PLA troops clashed in the Galwan Valley, Indian forces had engaged the Chinese military in a melee, a fight that ended up being the deadliest in over 4 decades. For China, Arunachal remains a desire. For India, the region remains a matter of sovereignty. However, China has been encircling India long before Galwan. With China's Belt and Road Initiative, a Chinese-owned port in Sri Lanka, and rising influence in Myanmar, Beijing has been trying to present itself as the region's superpower.
So you have the BRI through Pakistan and POK. You have ports in southern parts of Pakistan like Gwadar, in Sri Lanka, Hambantota. You have an arrangement in the southern parts of Myanmar to clearly strategically encircle India. And there are reports that in the China-Pakistan economic corridor, there are lots of tunnels, and these tunnels allow Pakistan and China to hide missiles.
Then in 2020, at least 38 Chinese soldiers died trying to encroach on Indian territory. In the pitch-dark, sub-zero clashes, 20 Indian soldiers too laid down their lives. And New Delhi was quick to react.
Let me also say that there have been obviously in this period very profound changes in our national security, and a lot of that of course is centered around a more intense challenge that we face on our northern borders with China.
While Beijing looks like it hopes for a signal to return to normalcy, things have been far from business as usual.
लाइन ऑफ एक्चुअल कंट्रोल पर एक मजबूत डिफेंस पोस्चर बरकरार रखते हुए हम किसी भी कॉन्टिंजेंसी से निपटने के लिए पूरी तरह तैयार है.
While India hosts global powers at the Shanghai Cooperation Organization Summit, the machinery has been working in the background. On one hand, New Delhi is working to ensure defense independence. On the other hand, it has been trying to isolate China diplomatically and financially. India's strategy to be the destination for China plus one investments seems to be paying off. From semiconductors to mobile phone manufacturing, India has been tackling China at every step. With a 13% jump in the Indian defense budget of 2022 to 23 and an increase in bolstering indigenous weapons, India seeks to make the armed forces battle ready. When the Chinese defense minister said that India should take a long view of the bilateral relationship and view the border issue in a normalized context, Rajnath Singh was clear on New Delhi's stance. The situation had not reached that point. The meeting on the sidelines of the SCO from April 27 made headlines when the Raksha Mantri refused to shake the hands of his counterpart, instead greeted him with a Namaste. Interestingly, Rajnath Singh shook hands with each of the other nations' representatives at the summit. Then, a couple of days later, External Affairs Minister Dr. Subramaniam Jaishankar described the relations with China as abnormal.
चीन जो है एक असाधारण पड़ोसी है, हो सकता है कि सालों में सुपर पावर भी एक बन जाए और ग्लोबल पावर के साथ बिल्कुल बगल में रहना इसकी अपनी चुनौती होती है.
Recently, when China renamed territories in Arunachal Pradesh, India was quick to condemn the unilateral move. Even as China claims to seek normal ties with India, New Delhi has been clear that the border issue and adherence of border agreements will remain at the center of dialogues. Since the May 2020 Galwan face-off, India and China have held 18 rounds of Corps Commander level talks. A year later, the two armies disengaged from both sides of Pangong Tso in February 2021 and from PP-17 in the Gogra Hot Springs area in August 2021. Disengagement from patrolling point 15 in the Gogra Hot Springs area of eastern Ladakh took place in September 2022. Despite the dialogue and disengagements from major conflict points, the two armies maintain combat deployment at the line of actual control. The perception that India is currently the lonely gun, especially after the Ukraine war, looks amusing to China. With Mao as Xi's role model, it's hardly a surprise to see a Galwan or a Tawang happening these days. And the best way India can push China to go in for peace on its borders is by preparing full throttle for war.